Hi, seniors. It's AJ here, and I'm here to talk to you today about a possible option for your Phase 3 project for Senior Capstone. And this is the entrepreneurial track. So it's kind of like Get Invested, but with different rules and different expectations. And I just want you to watch this video and hear me out on what we're thinking and offering to all our students in ITA as seniors. And I also want you to keep in mind that you have to have your portfolio and Phase 1 and 2 projects done before you start working on this. So, first, let me talk a little bit about entrepreneurs so we all know what we're talking about here. So some common myths about entrepreneurs. One is that they're the smartest, highest achieving students or people in a class or in a space. And it's not true. Usually getting a good grade in school across all your subjects means you're, kind of good at a lot of things. Entrepreneurs tend to focus on one thing and become an expert at it and really work toward that goal. So that means sometimes they kind of forget about other things. Also, always work alone. It's not true. Entrepreneurs are excellent at making connections, building community, working together and trying to work together to make the world a better place through big ideas. Another myth is that they're born and not made. And entrepreneurial skills are something anyone can learn, and we want to teach you. And that means that it's not just you were born with this skill, you actually picked it up along the way if you're good at it, or you just set out to learn how to be a good entrepreneur. Another myth is that they're risk takers. Entrepreneurs are not, don't think of themselves as risk takers. They do a ton of research, a ton of follow-up, talk to lots of people, really get to know their market and their customer really well so that they're taking calculated risks. So it's not like high risk decisions. It's stuff that they are pretty certain this will work, and then they move along at whatever pace makes the most sense. Charisma or charismatic is not a necessary trait of an entrepreneur. It's another myth. Some of the most successful entrepreneurs out there are also really awkward when it comes to person-to-person relationships. What they are good at is helping others to see their vision and helping to make their vision become a reality. So it obviously takes a lot of skills to get to know people and to be able to be a good public speaker and that kind of stuff, but it's not necessary. And finally, there's a myth that entrepreneurs are kind of, relaxed and just do whatever they want and throw money around. They're undisciplined, and that's not true at all. It's exactly the opposite. They keep really tight schedules. They are their own boss, so they have to manage their time and their resources really well in order to stay successful and stay on top of their game. All this is to say, a lot of times these myths turn people away. They say, oh, I'm not, a straight A student, and I don't like working alone. I like working with other people, and I just don't feel like I'm good at this, but you can learn. All these things are things that maybe don't describe you, but they don't have to be a trait of yours to be a successful entrepreneur. So what do they do? And so these are the things that anyone can do. They come up with ideas to make things better, cheaper, faster, or more personable. Some entrepreneurs start with a solution, like they have a cool tech innovation or something like that, and then they try to find a place where that fits, where they can have a business run around it. Or I've noticed a lot of students, especially and early entrepreneurs, they start with a problem, something they're really passionate about, something about the world that they want to change. And so they work really hard to find a solution to that problem. Also, what entrepreneurs do in a different way of thinking is some of them just want to disrupt. They want to disrupt society or the norms or things that, again, they're really passionate about and they want to see change. Or they see things are kind of working in a certain space, but they want to upgrade it. They want to make it better. Or find a new application for something. So Maybe you love the way that ITA does online courses and how we come in and travel and visit you from time to time. And maybe you take an online course in college and you're like, oh, the way ITA did it's way better, or the other way around. So that would be like finding a new application, like finding one way of doing things works in this area, and then I wish it would work like that in this other area. So what's the process? Basically, it's a two-step process: ideation and validation. Ideation is a fancy way of saying coming up with an idea. And so whether you start with a problem and find a solution, or start with a solution and find a problem, either way you need both a problem and a solution, and that would be your idea. Then validation is the longer step. So really identifying your customer, that's down to this very specifics. A certain person, different things about their demographics, their age, what they like, all that stuff is important to know when you're running a business, because you want to know who your customer is and how to serve them best. You have to understand their needs, whether it's a rational need like food and sleep, emotional like excitement or fun or entertainment, or social like what they care about or who they care about. And then you need to follow up with research, which is not really going to be found on Google. If you are an entrepreneur and you're trying to change, disrupt, succeed, you're not just going to be able to find someone else that's already done all that stuff. That's why you're being so passionate. So this is in person. What that really looks like in its best form is get some starting names, some people that you can reach out to. If you're interested in some particular science, let's say like athletic shoes or something, then you need to follow a path that is set out for you. Maybe we can connect you with someone that studies shoes or manufactures them, and then you want to go talk to them actually, or get in touch with them. And then they're going to give you more names, and you need to branch out and do that. And if you're not liking the direction you're going, you have to start looking in new directions and following up in those new directions. So that's the validation part. Obviously, when you're talking about entrepreneurship, you're talking about business, and you're talking about money. So I just want to walk you through some basic ideas about money here. So a company could bootstrap. What that means is that no equity is ever given away or sold. And along the way, you scrape together what money you can. So that could be money you currently have, or you could start your business small, and as you make money, keep expanding it. You can take out a loan and then pay back the money. A lot of businesses do that. Either way, if you're bootstrapping, you're keeping ownership of your whole company. Another way you can get money is to sell equity, which means get investors. So you can find people who have a lot of money, who think your idea is big, and they want a certain percentage of it, and they'll pay you what they think, or what you tell them is what it's worth for 10% of your company or 50% of your company. So that's another way that companies get money. So then let's say you started a startup and you want to know where that could lead. So the startup could fail. You could dissolve the company. And while that means the company itself has failed, it actually is a huge success for you. You actually can go around and say, put on your resume, explain to prospective employers or other people you want to work with to run a company, hey, I've done this before. I started my own company and then I dissolved it. So that's one of the best ways to fail. You could maintain, so your company might be successful and you might love running it, so that could be your career. You could sell it. This is a really popular route for a lot of startups nowadays. Twitter was a small company that got sold to a much larger company. Apple buys companies all the time. Instagram was recently bought by Facebook, and so that's where they get their full payback. IPO and ICO is basically stocks, or that kind of way of your company goes public, it's called, and then anyone can buy a stock in that company and own a portion of it. So how does this relate back to Senior Capstone? So that's what an entrepreneur is all about. That's kind of the trajectory they could go, the things they do, and the fact that anyone can learn those skills and follow up on them. So phase 3 is kind of around the corner here, and we want you to start thinking about whether this is something you're interested in and want to have a chance to start while you're in high school. An early start means it actually just means a lot in terms of getting good at this kind of thing, if you see it in your future. So basically, you'd have to come up with another business idea, just like Get Invested. You came up with an idea. This time, there's not really limitations about what that looks like. We know there's going to be a lot of tech in anything you do, whether it's just to keep yourself organized or a part of your business idea. So just go for it. And you need to validate the idea, make sure you are really into it, do your market research. And then you're going to create a pitch deck. With that pitch deck, you'll pitch in a few competitions that I'll walk through in just a moment. You can do this alone, you can do it in teams, with a partner, whatever. Think of it really realistically as something you'd actually want to be doing with your time. And then you must have phase 1 and 2 projects completed, as well as your portfolio up to date according to your instructor's requirements, so that we know you can just focus on this final project and be successful with it and with graduating ITA. So overall deadline, through this December month all the way into February, if you select this option, we want to make sure you have the support you need, so we'll give you some more in-depth training on what running a business really looks like, as well as that's the time for you to come up with your ideas. In February, you'll need to actually have your idea, have a pitch, and share your idea with mentors, whether that's remotely or if we know you're interested, we'll make sure to do our best to get someone from Oneida or Lac du Flambeau to actually come and meet with you at winter cohort. We're going to be doing a practice competition live in Madison on March 9th, but you can submit videos for that. That competition is going to look like this. So your final competition back at Get Invested was your whole pitch. We're actually going to split up the practice competition into several parts. So just your market research or just your business plan idea. And that way you'll actually be able to improve every single part of your overall pitch. There will be a competition and you will have to submit your idea to the Wisconsin Yes competition in early April, and that will be a requirement of this phase. That is a statewide high school business competition, and we really strongly feel that if you're interested in this now, you are in a great spot to win that competition. And they usually have a large cash prize, as well as the ability to meet a whole bunch of people that will help you along the way. Last year we had one of our groups go in as semifinalists into that competition. So let's even make it further this year. Then we will have a final pitch competition at Spring Conference on April 6th. So that will be all the seniors from all 3 sites competing just like at Get Invested, hopefully for a cash prize that's sponsored by another company, but we have to look at who's participating first and if we have enough competition to make that happen. And finally, you have to make a page about this in your portfolio. And that can include stuff from Get Invested too. So your phase 3 still needs to be a part of your portfolio, and so you would just have to work out how that looks for your individual portfolio. But somehow your experience needs to be captured and represented. I'm thinking photos, pitch deck, descriptions, maybe keeping it up to date if you win any of these competitions, that kind of thing. So, thank you so much for listening. If you are interested in this route for phase 3, talk to your instructor and they'll probably get in touch with me, or just email me directly at aj.daughtry@wisc.edu, and we can take it from there. So I can help you come up with what your idea is. We can have a phone call, that kind of thing. This is a really exciting opportunity. I'm glad that there's a lot of folks in Madison that are helping to make this a reality for you all. So if you are interested, I really hope you take on this challenge. And I hope you think through it, because it is a lot of work. No matter how you slice it, this is going to be a lot of work for this phase. So please be in touch if you're interested. Otherwise, thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.